Okay, hi again, everybody. So what I want to do, again, like I've done for our other two essays, is just go over the assignment sheet. I'm so sorry, there's like a terrible glare in my glasses, and it's like you can see me reflected in them too. I don't know how to get rid of that. I'm not an expert at recording at all, as you may have noticed so far if you've been watching these videos. So I'm going to share my screen very quickly. Um, Please do remember too that you can always access the assignment sheets in the individual unit folder. So for the comparative essay assignment sheet, just go to the Unit 3 folder and it's right there for you too. I just always think it's useful for you guys if I go over them so that you can, kind of get a clearer idea of what I was thinking whenever I made them too. Okay, so your format is the same. It's Times New Roman, 12-point font, double space, page numbers, header. I think you guys are used to that by now. It's going to be 4 to 5 pages. So this essay is a little bit shorter, and it's worth 15% or 150 points. Your draft is due Wednesday, July 22nd. By midnight on Blackboard, please give me at least 2 pages. And your final will be due Friday, July 24th by midnight on Blackboard. Okay, so now I'm just going to start reading the assignment sheet. For your third formal assignment of the semester, you will write a comparative essay. Specifically, your goal in this essay is to compare the similarities and differences between two texts, one of which is an adaptation of the other. So Shakespeare's play As You Like It, which is the original, and Love, As You Like It, a San Francisco love story, the film adaptation of the play. Film kind of loosey-goosey because I don't know that it was released anywhere except for on YouTube. However, and this is really key, however, it is not enough to note the similarities and differences between the two texts, right? You can't just say, oh, Orlando and his brother are of a different race in the San Francisco love story version. Okay, why? Why is that significant? So instead, you specifically want to consider how the similarities and differences between the two are important to the individual meaning of each text. And a good way to do that is to think about how does each audience react to this, right? So maybe they diversified the cast in the more modern film version, right, to better reflect the diversity of a modern viewing audience. And you could kind of go along with that and say why that kind of diversity is important or significant in the new version. Additionally, you should consider how the changes are tied to each individual's and piece's intended audience and purpose. In order to do this, you'll need to have, and you guys are familiar with this, you've been doing this, a thesis at the end of your first paragraph and an argument throughout your essay that proves your thesis. You should use specific textual examples from the play and film to closely analyze your ideas. So it's really easy to, I have it right here, it's really easy to quote from the play, right? You can also quote what they say in the film, or you can describe a scene or how a character looks or is dressed, right? For evidence that you're going to pull from the film, summary, especially in terms of like summarizing the description of things, is probably going to be the best way to do it. Okay, by closely analyze, I mean that you should pay attention to what is said on the page. You guys are familiar with this, and what individual words, phrases, paragraphs, or stanzas and circumstances from the text mean when analyzed individually and together. You should use quotations, paraphrase, and summary of the text as evidence, which you then closely analyze. You guys are, as a whole, doing a really good job at that. Your essay should not summarize the text. Don't just say this is what happens, right? You have to analyze. You can use any of the materials that we've spoken about in class so far and any analysis we've done in class. You are encouraged, however, to also bring new ideas to the table, as well as your own interpretations of passages or to build off what we discussed in class. You cannot use outside sources. I know it's really tempting because you're writing about like a Shakespeare play, and there are sources out there about this play. I don't think you're going to find any sources though that talk about the San Francisco love story version of it. And you just should not use any sources for this. I do not want you guys to, so do not consult outside sources. However, in this book, there are like readings from the beginning that talk about Shakespeare's life, Shakespeare's As You Like It. I think there is a little essay, yeah. So in this version, on page 230, As You Like It, A Modern Perspective by Susan Snyder, I will give you a pass to use that if you feel like you really, really need a source, but that's it, just whatever is in this book. Okay. And then I came up with 3 prompts for you guys. So the first one essentially is asking you to consider the differences between time and setting from the 16th century to the present day, and from an older forest in France to a series of streets, close-ups, and interiors. So it's really asking you, like, why is that kind of setting in time different or significant? How does that impact the underlying love story between Rosalind and Orlando, and the battle between Duke Senior and Duke Frederick? Number 2, let's see, is asking you to look at the kind of comedic and romance elements of As You Like It and the film version. Okay, so however, some of the characters are quite different. For instance, black men were cast to portray Orlando and his brother, something which did not happen in Shakespeare's original version and actually could not. How does the diversity of Love As You Like It, a San Francisco love story, modernize the film adaptation? Are the comedic and romance elements the same between the 2 versions, or has diversity influenced them too? And then I've gone ahead and I've given you a definition of diversity from the Merriam-Webster Online Dictionary. If you want to, you can go ahead and kind of like quote that definition in your essay. That would be totally fine. And then the last thing is I ask you to explore queer or non-heteronormative relationships in both versions, and to see whether the kind of queerness between characters that we are going to explore continuously throughout As You Like It are also present in the modern version too. And then to consider why or why not, what is the significance of keeping or altering these relationships, especially in relation to audience. Okay, and then the next page has a big long blank space, but then you see the rubric. I'll have to fix that, I guess. But anyway, I'm looking for the usual stuff, right? That you have a thesis, analysis, argument, textual examples. You guys should be familiar with that. You can really channel a lot of the kind of work that you've done with your first 2 essays into this. The thing that really makes this different is this last point that I've put down here, which is organization. I have found, I've taught the comparative essay multiple times now, and I find that the thing that really tends to trip students up, and I've been trying to stress this for you guys, is organization. It's really hard sometimes whenever you are trying to write about 2 different texts to figure out how to organize the essay. Last class, I gave you some suggestions on how to do that. So think very carefully about how you need to organize your essay so that your argument and your ideas are clear. But I think that's going to be really the most difficult part, and kind of the new thing for you guys. Okay, and I think that is it for this assignment sheet. As always, if you guys have questions about it, concerns, you want to bounce ideas off me, please feel free to do so. You can just go ahead and send me an email, and then we will be all set. Okay, so now I'm going to end it here.